guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Yvonne and you are on Ginger Chick Rehab, where I love secondhand, pre-loved, thrifted items. Not only do I decorate my own home with them, I share the process of with you all of how I make these items over. But in today's video, we are doing some spring, some Easter decor because it is the season. So I'm going to share with you how I put together, painted up some items, and gathered them around for the spring season. Rusty Crusty Bunny on a Stick. That has to be one of my favorites. I'm glad that I scooped this right up. So I don't care that it wasn't on anything. I can put it on something, but I'm not really a fan of the faded pinkish bow on there, so I'm going to go ahead and take that bow off. Easy fix there. And then it does have some marks, some watermarks, some scrape marks, and I'm just taking that piece of fabric and then just running it across. The nice thing about Rusty Crusty is it's kind of dusty sometimes, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it look like it's all even and not those scrape marks that are going on, probably from being thrifted. So, but after I get it all evened out, I'm going to go ahead and seal it in, so hopefully those scrapes don't happen again so easily with some Weather Defense metal spray. I just knew somewhere in my stash I would have something that had a hole in it enough that I could put that bunny in there. So this piece of wood, I have no idea what it came off of, but I love to hoard on items like this because you never know when you're going to be able to use them. But the wood color and the rust doesn't really go together so well. It just kind of looks like a muted tone. So I'm going to go ahead and get this painted up with some flour sack white Sweet Pickins milk paint, because I'm hoping that it's going to be on the chippy side when I get it painted up. Now the thing about milk paint is you just never know. Is it going to crack? Is it going to craze? Is it going to chip? So it's just unpredictable, and it seemed to do what I wanted it to do. I would like it to be a lot more distressed than what it is. So I'm just taking some sandpaper over it, some 220 sandpaper, and you can see where it's just chipping the chips right off, which is perfect to match that rusty crustiness. I didn't bother with painting the bottom because it's just going to be hanging out of the bottom, and the bottom is nice and clean. Do need to seal my milk paint in, but I do not want to change the color. I think it's absolutely gorgeous the way it is, and that dark wood poking through. So I'm just going to seal it in with some natural clear wax from Homestead. Now how do I glue the bunny into the hole? Because the hole on the top is smaller than the hole on the bottom, and the hole on the bottom is quite large. So I think hot glue will be enough to hold this in. So all I'm going to do is tape off that bottom hole so that I don't make a mess, because I can always put made by tag over that hole. Like I said, the bottom is nice and clean. I don't see any reason to have to waste the time painting it. So I'm just going to go ahead and just fill this up with some hot glue. I cannot walk away. I just have to hold it in the upright position until that hot glue gets hard. Ever look at a piece in your stash and you think, I think I've had this since the test of time. I think I've had this for I don't even know how many years, trying to come up with the idea that I finally was inspired because it is so super cute. So it was just like a candle holder riser. So I did like the color, but it's dirty. It's a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and repaint it using some Sweet Pickins milk paint in the pantry drawer, which is probably kind of similar to what color it was, but it was kind of a few different colors. My milk paint is thickening up. I'm just going to give it a nice cleaning. See, that's the green is kind of dulled over time, and it's got two different colors with the cream. It just looks dirty. It doesn't look like good age dirty. It just looks dirty. So just some Dawn dish soap and some hot water to wipe it down. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I like to keep working on a project, so I'm going to go ahead and get the feet of this little candle holder dried so I can flip it over and proceed on painting that top. Because this wood was so porous, it just soaked that paint right in, and I only needed one coat to cover it, especially since I knew I was going to be taking sandpaper to distress it. I knew that it really wasn't probably going to be chippy unless I sealed it in with some type of clear coat before I put the paint on, but I knew with all this beautiful detail, sanding it would bring out that beautiful character on its own. And to bring out some more of the character and give it that nice aged look, like a dirty aged look, but not being dirty, with some of the aging wax from Fusion. So I'd like to put this thrifted bird on the top of this, but the bird has a lot of character also, but you just can't see all that character, all that detail. So I'm just going to do that same aging wax all over this little bird, and I think all that little aging wax will just sit into all those little crevices, those little details that somebody carved in. I'm pretty sure it's probably just a resin piece, but it's a cute little birdie, and just adding some wax is all this little birdie needs. Yes, those are the two distress pieces now that will go perfectly together. Though I want to add some type of greenery, like a nest, but not really a nest. And I picked up these they were probably like candle rings, but they're greenery that somebody already cut. So, okay, well, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to staple them on and kind of make a ring around. So kind of like a nest, but not using a nest, just with the greenery. And I think a little bit of hot glue on the bottom. Okay, well, a lot of hot glue on the bottom of this bird, and that should hold them. I know somebody asked, do I find that sometimes hot glue comes off or comes loose? Yes, it does. It's just it's not a exact permanent. So if somebody wants to change a piece out, they can take it apart other than using like a tight bond, quick and thick or something like that, that would put it there permanently and ruin the object if you try to remove it. So hot glue is the option. If it comes loose, you just re-hot glue it back on. I do feel like I need to break apart that really green of this boxwood. I think it's like a boxwood or baby grass. I'm not sure what type of the greenery it is, but it's just really dark with the light bird and the lightness of the pantry door. And I think just cutting up this pipberry stems that are white with the brown will just do that, just break up that really a lot of greenery. So now I have this little wooden egg cup. I think it's an egg cup. So just been hanging out in my wood stash until I found some inspiration. And yes, I am actually going to use it for what it's for by putting an egg in it. So this is a styrofoam egg, though I want to add these beautiful tulips in there, kind of like a little vase, but it's going to be the egg. But the wood colors just, nah, that's not going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and get this painted up using some of the Fusions paint in the picket fence. Now, I could have probably done a lot of colors, but I really want your focus to be on those beautiful tulips, not necessarily the bottom piece. Those tulips are just absolutely gorgeous that I thrifted. Did take a couple coats to cover, and I did paint the bottom of this one because I just could not keep it clean, and I didn't want to take the time to. It's small, so I'm just going in with some 220 sandpaper and just distressing it, just giving it a little bit of age, which the darkness, there's some speckles on the egg, so that darkness poking through that white will tie in with the speckles on the egg. To attach this, I'm going to be using some more of the hot glue. Now I'm really going to fill that hot glue up because I know I'm using the rounded bottom part, so I need to make sure that it's catching down there because I wanted the tip part to be where I cut in to put the tulips. Using an X-Acto knife, I'm just going to start whittling some of it away, kind of make it look like a little baby chirped or broke its way through that egg, but the egg is actually styrofoam. It's not a hollow egg. But I do want to go ahead and dig out some of that styrofoam because I do want to add some like fakey grass or some Spanish moss in there. And then I want to make sure that I have plenty of room to press down because these tulips have a metal piece that is nice and sharp and pointy just to be used for something like this. I believe that this is like the Dollar Tree, so just a different version of moss. I guess it's a little bit tighter of the greens, so I think it's a little bit perfect for this small space. So I'll just break some apart and get that hot glued in. Not every project have to be painted. Now, doesn't have to have a ton of elements. Sometimes it's as simple as a chippy enamelware cup. Look at this beautiful green on there. That cream color, that brokenness is awesome. So I bought a package. I actually thrifted a package of little nests. So this is perfect because then I have this little yellow ducky that I thrifted. And I thought, let's just make him a little home in this cup. So I'm taking some of this grass. I was told what it was, and I'm looking for it. I still have plenty left right now before I can order off of Etsy. Yeah, I'll try to remember the link to link it on from Etsy for the people who asked me about this grass. I just absolutely love the color of it. So yes, so we just filled the cup up with a floral foam from the Dollar Tree so you don't have to use so much of the grass up, and then stuck some of the grass in there. Now I'm going to hot glue, like this pack came with a couple different types, but it was minimal, and I love the darkness of this little bird's nest, so I'm just going to hot glue that in, get that kind of hot glued onto the floral foam, pushing that grass back, add a little bit more grass, and then we will just hot glue that little ducky in there nice and tight. Then the 6-pack of Nest came with this little Nest sign. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. I think that's just the perfect, it's almost, I mean, it's a coordinating color with the cup. It breaks up that darkness of the brown. And yeah, there we go. have another one that is a no paint. I don't know about y'all, but usually clear jars are not everybody's favorite thing. But I love these jars. I love the character of these jars. I don't know what they were used for, what they came from. I just love that grid pattern, and I love that openness in that front so you can see some goodies. So I'm actually going to stuff one of those bird's nests in there. But I got some other things I'm going to stuff in there first. So I want that to kind of sit towards the front. And I'm going to pop some of these little eggs in there for some color. So just work with me here. I know that it doesn't necessarily fit into that jar, but we're going to make it fit. So once I finally picked out which eggs I liked, because I didn't have ones that are all the same color, and I'm glad I had one that was a little bit brighter because these are kind of like a grayish blue that were kind of muted, that kind of get overlooked, but at least having one of the green ones in there will make them pop a little bit more. So I'm just going to go ahead and get those hot glued into that nest. So I'm just going to use some more of the Dollar Tree Spanish moss type. I mean, every Dollar Tree seems to have a different Spanish moss. Every store seems to have a different type of Spanish moss, but I'm just going to fill it up quite a bit because I want to push that nest towards the front so you see it kind of sitting on its side and that you see those eggs. And I'm hoping that once I squash this in here, I'm not loosening up those eggs too much, but I gotta do it. I gotta squish it to get it to be down in there. And I'm just going to use one of my long-handled paintbrushes and kind of work its way down in there, smushing some more of that moss down, and then I'm going to add a little bit more behind it so it's really going towards the front. It's really tilted forward. Every time I think to myself, I should make some carrots, but then I look at these going, everybody's making carrots and they're minimal cost, so why not support small business and buy their carrots? So yes, I'm going to stuff these orange carrots in the back of this. It's kind of a spring Easter garden type of thing. You know, birds will make their nest wherever birds make their nest sometimes, so I think it's kind of a cute project. But I would like to wrap some of this drop cloth around the jar itself, kind of bringing a light element with all that dark going on. So I just need to cut some strips up. My carrot tops are hanging quite along the sides of there, even though I know my first wrapping of my ribbon is not going to lay quite like that. So all I'm going to do is add a couple more of the pieces and kind of not tie them around, but let them dangle down so that I have more trundling down. Still feel like my fabric pieces are they're too wide, so I'm just going to cut them in half and just split them and hope that they don't completely break off, but I just felt like they were just a little bit too wide, and I'll do it to my drop cloth pieces also. I had a viewer share this tip with me since I love to use instant coffee a lot to age fabric and paper and whatnot. She said she puts it in a spray bottle. Hello, great idea, great tip. So I have an extra spray bottle, so I'm not really sure how much to make up, or I guess it will just last, right? It's not going to go bad. Not like we're eating it. So yeah, I'm just guesstimating on the water instant coffee ratio, and we'll see how this works. Though sometimes I like the dark spots of the instant coffee so I can still see adding some to it, but I love this tip for darkening up an aging fabric. So I felt like I needed a little something like a sign or something, but when I went to my stash, I fell in love with this little rooster weather vane, and I'm like, okay, he's tall, so he'll go into the carrots, and it's long enough that it'll go into the little drop cloth ribbons that I created, but I do need to give it some age because it's a little bit too clean. I do feel like he needs a little bit more patina, so I have this Perma Blue, which once you take the Q-tip in the solution, it'll start darkening up that metal, as you can see. Yes, I could have done Dixie Belle's patina, but it was such a small little item. It's just sometimes it's easy to do a quick little fix like this to give it a product of metal and age than getting all that product out just for a little guy like this. So when I was out and about gathering to do Easter and spring for you all, look at these little cuties. I don't know what they would have sat on, if they were in a floral arrangement, if they were in a cupcake. I'm not really sure. The stems are kind of long. Anyway, but I just wanted to figure out how to use them in something. And the only thing I could think of is to put them in this beautiful green bottle that I have been stashing on because it didn't have a lid. And like, oh, but my bunny never wanted to sit straight. It just kept wanting to turn. It was like heavy. So I do need to put some hot glue in on the bottom of these and hot glue them to the sides to get them to stay in the position I want them to be in. Don't want you to see the stems and the hot glue in the bottom of the bottle, so I'm just going to very gingerly stuff some of the Spanish moss in there, which of course is going to catch on the crisscross of the wooden dowels or whatever they are. So I'm going to have to push it down there very gingerly to get it to be covered up, but I'm probably going to go ahead and fill this right up. So they are cute as is, but I think they can be a little bit better. So the Dollar Tree has little mini resin mushrooms. Are they not so sweet? So I think we can make this all work. So I'm going to go ahead and glue a couple of these little bitty mushrooms on the bottom of this, and I'll create an arrangement that works. Just trust the process. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some more of that greenery to this along the front so you don't see the hot glue. And I'm going to go up the stem a little bit so it looks like this is just like a salvaged find that you just found this out in the wild in the forest. Before I get too much of that greenery on, I know that I want to add a few pieces of this jute just to have something trundling down. So I'm going to go ahead and cut three strings of the jute, but I'm going to need to wet them down. So I have that watered down instant coffee mixture. So I'll just go ahead and add that. Watering this down will get all that, how it comes off the twine ball, so curvy and not the way that you want it to lay. Just wetting it down will straighten that out. So since my mushrooms are so short and then my duck and my bunny are so tall, I need like a third element in there to add a little bit of more visual height. So I'm just going to take these pip berries that the color matches the bunny's ears. It was from a wreath that I had thrifted that it was just worse for wear, but I cut all the pip berries off in the rusty stars to salvage it to be able to use it on projects like these. Feel like your eye is being drawn to those mushrooms just a little bit too much because they're so new looking. So I'm just going to take some of the Fusion's aging wax and then just brush it on, and that should tone that brightness down. if I really could see a raise of people's hands, how many people have Old Spice metal spice containers in their stash and are always wanting an idea to create with them. So here is an idea that I ran across. And so I'm just going to take some more of those Dollar Tree little mini mushrooms and I'm going to glue them on the top. Now remember, we did this kind of for Christmas with little bitty bottle brush trees and little bitty wooden figures from Hobby Lobby, so these mushrooms are going to be perfect. Oh, are they not super cute already? But I'm going to add a little bit more of the Spanish moss. And then once I started to glue the Spanish moss on, I'm like, oh, you can't really see my mushrooms. So good thing the hot glue really hasn't set up. And that's the nice thing about working with hot glue on projects because you can just pop it off. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the whole thing with the Spanish moss, get the hot glue off the bottom of the mushrooms, and re-glue them back on. Do y'all see these at Hobby Lobby? Little tiny floofs. They're floofs. They're just little bitty floofs. Little chickens. But oh my gosh, as cute as they are not easy to work with. One, they were not easy to get out of the packaging without completely destroying it. And so they have a little beak and they have a couple little wings. And of course that doesn't stay attached, but darn it all, I want to use them because I bought them and they're perfect to go on this little mushroom spice display. They're just those things that are so cute in the packaging and then they just start destroying themselves once you take them out of the packaging. So I'm like, fine, I'm just going to go ahead and get it glued on first and then I can deal with the little beak coming off and the little wings coming off and get the head tilted the right way because it's just on like a piece of metal. You know, it's just one of those things. The cuteness factor was there. Little floof kind of looks like a hot mess anyway, so why don't we just spray him with some Instant Coffee to give him some age, fluff up his little his floofiness a little bit more, and that'll add some age to match with the rusty crusty of the aged spice. And then I'm going to do that same thing that I did earlier with the other mushrooms and take some aging wax to bring out the detail and add some age to these mushrooms. So my next one, no paint, no glue, just making this cute basket that I fell in love with. The blue of this wire, probably reproduction egg basket is so stinking cute. So ran across a Peter Rabbit book, one of the old golden books. Hello. And then we got a cute little age distressed bunny because they're all over my area right now. Though it's the same thing, I think that I need to cut these down just a little bit more. They're little carrot tops. It's funny, you know, growing up a redhead, people would say that, call me a carrot top. But you know what? Carrot tops are green, so I don't know why people used to say that. But anyway, they thought it was funny. So I'm just going to cut these into smaller little pieces of ribbon. So this is kind of like a decor Easter basket. No edible goodies in here today, but just super cute decor. So to top this off, I have some creamish and brownish eggs that I'm just going to fill the basket in with. I don't think it needs any more. I thought about florals, I thought about green grass, but I nixed all those ideas when I tried it out. I think it's just sometimes simple is good. So thank you so much for watching today's video. And are you a gatherer too? Do you get a whole bunch of items around and you're like, I finally have enough to create with? So give me a quick comment down below if I inspired you to go out gathering out there in the wild. So thanks again for watching today's video. And always, if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you're new and you're checking out this channel for the first time and you liked what you saw, please hit that subscription button along with the notification bell so you know if I've uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what we're up to. Bye.